Hey everybody, welcome to another video, and in this one we are going to be talking about 5 great things in Assassin's Creed Rogue. This is of course a follow-up to my 5 bad things in Assassin's Creed Rogue, and it is also worth mentioning that a spoiler warning here is very sensible, so there's the spoiler warning guys. From here on out I'm assuming you've played the game. To start off with, we do have the Templar Perspective. Now, what I really like this about Assassin's Creed Rogue and its story and what it did, I didn't like how the Assassins were portrayed very much, but I did like how the Templar Perspective showed what the Templars think of the Assassins, and it makes them not look as evil as we have seen in previous games, and it makes the Assassins look just as bad, and we get that, which is what Ubisoft have been basically trying to tell us, and this Templar Perspective gives us like a good view of how both sides see it, which makes it very in-depth and very interesting for future games, which is also quite fun. And I also like to see how Templars approach their issues, but because of Shay's assassin origin, he's not really Templar in how he handles things. He's still pretty assassin. He handles things like an assassin. However, he is a Templar and he works for the Templars, and we get to see the Templar perspective and how they dealt with the colonial assassins before the events and the build-ups to Assassin's Creed 3, which was all really good. In other words, Shay Cormac just assassinated the assassins and turned the game on its head, because he was of course an assassin turned Templar and not fully a Templar like from birth sort of thing, so we have that confusion, and that wasn't as clear as it could have been, but the result was still pretty spectacular. Next up we have the open world area known as River Valley, which was actually really nice and really beautiful. Now, I didn't like how it was empty and only full of pointless collectibles, but I'm talking more about the aesthetics here. So what I liked about the River Valley is it was a very open area. It was like how in Black Flag, if there was a massive island and you'd have 2 different islands, you had to get on your ship and then go around the island to get to the other part of the island. And in Rogue, they've sort of done the same thing, but they've added paths so that you can go from one side of the island basically to the other, and then get on a small boat and go across with like the little thing, and you can go on another island and do the same there, and it's more open. In other words, you don't have to use the Morrigan to weave through it, but it's also very nice. And I just think that the open world in this little area, although quite empty, is quite aesthetically pleasing and quite satisfying to be able to travel across the area pretty much on land, besides from the little bits where you can interact with a boat and then go across. And I really liked it, to be honest. I like that bit. I like that part of the River Valley area. Considering Shay was going up against assassins, there were some pretty challenging enemies, and this was very welcome. You see, the assassins were den captains that you had to kill, and they were quite difficult to kill, and they would often quite easily kill you just as easy as you could kill them. And if you killed civilians, you'd have hunters on you, and they're also very dangerous and quite hard to kill if you don't know how to do it and approach it and sort of thing. However, they're not as hard as these assassins, but these challenging enemies made playing the game and the combat so much more interesting, and the fact that Shay was up against the assassins rather than up against Templars did feel a lot more real, because the assassins have some really deadly motherfuckers working for them, and I feel as if that was portrayed quite well considering how Shay struggled with some of the den captains. He didn't succeed because he'd have to use your mind, but they were very complicated to kill. They'd often run off and use stealth tactics to attack you, and I found these challenges and these new types of enemies to be quite interesting and unique to Rogue, and made it quite the experience. Next up, we do have the tie-in to Assassin's Creed Unity. Now, this tie-in, I'm not going to go into much detail, even though I have given a spoiler warning, because I think that this tie-in is pretty fucking cool. Now, it's not the best tie-in of all time, but it's a little cool thing, and I found it to be really cool. Now, if you don't know, it was heavily advertised that Assassin's Creed Rogue and Unity would tie in together somewhere, and Assassin's Creed Rogue did it in the way that you sort of expected when you realised you'd play as a Templar in that game, and an Assassin in Unity. And considering that in Assassin's Creed Unity, Arno's father was killed, you can assume the rest from there, and it was quite satisfying. And finally, we have the return of old characters from previous Assassin's Creed games such as Haytham Kenway, Adewale and Achilles Davenport. Nobody cares about Benjamin Franklin. The return of these characters in the sort of events that they're in the game and their involvement in previous games was quite special. Being able to hunt Adewale after being able to play him in a DLC in Black Flag was quite interesting, to say the least. Being able to see a younger Achilles was also quite interesting, and you understand why he's got such a pessimistic view of the Assassin-Templar conflict and his place in the world and what he should be doing in Assassin's Creed 3, and it makes you understand his character quite a bit better, even if he didn't really feel like the same character for the most part. And then there's HATEFUL, who's just the same badass, unfuck-giving Templar Grand Master who's a proper tank, and he's just cool in everything that he's in. And yeah, it's just HATEFUL. HATEFUL is Bay. End of story. And the fact that these characters are present makes the bridging the gap between Black Flag and Assassin's Creed 3 so much more interesting rather than just filler, and it actually gives you some input on the story in Assassin's Creed 3 and what we're going into as Connor at that point. And I just really like how it sort of works in general with all these characters involved. For example, how they're involved in the downfall of the colonial assassins and so on and so forth. But anyway guys, there you have it. 5 great things in Assassin's Creed Rogue in my opinion. Please understand that that is my opinion, and if you disagree or have more to add in the comment section, then please go ahead and do so. That's what it's there for, you know. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, share, comment, and I will see you all in the next one with another video very soon. So yes. So yeah.